This conference will now be recorded.
Hello guys, this is Professor Olson doing the midweek critique for week 4, looking at your package designs. First up, we're going to look at Alexis. Alexis, you've done a lot of work here. This is good, a lot of options. When I look at these small, I feel like, yeah, the logo needs a little showcase. You did that here in this final one. The one thing I would say is these, I guess it's like simulating cookies in behind the cellophane. It's not particularly effective in the cookies because they're so colorful, they look like logos. It sort of interferes with the graphics. So if you're going to do this, I would get some sort of slightly more ordinary looking cookies. In your creative brief, these are like cookies with cactus jelly. Here it says orange shortbread cookies with royal icing. Uh, just keep that simple. Let your graphics sort of shine through. Maybe create a little more of a boundary around the edge so you have room for your net weight a little better. I do like the pattern on the side. Your overall palette is working. It has a southwestern feel, but this violet purple color kind of pops out a bit. So I think you've done a good job with this so far. Uh, Next up, we've got Alicia. You did Oaxaca chocolate. Um, this is okay. I feel like the color palette's really limited, and everywhere where you're using black type, I would consider, is there a real dark color that you could use instead? Your logo is super simple, and there's just not like a ton of contrast except for the black. So I would consider maybe expanding your palette a bit so that you have other options for the color. And so far you've got one version. You really need to have at least 3 and explore some more. All right, jumping over to Professor Penna's section. First, Zachary, you did Boise beef jerky. I really like your logo. I think you pushed this in the right direction. Overall, your color palette feels a little off to me for this kind of Western feeling. I think that this background color, which looks almost kind of greenish, should maybe be more warm color, maybe like parchment or paper or something. I think that would add a lot to it. Another suggestion is that your logo type is great. Don't use the same font elsewhere. Just let it be the star of the show. Um, so there's probably another kind of Western font you could use. And the other thing is, like, because this is in black or dark red, I guess, and this is like a light gray, it sort of overshadows your logo. So you want the logo to be the hero, and right now it's kind of fading into the background a bit. Um, all the elements look good. Yeah, you see, when you look at this assembled, it looks like original sort of screaming at me, and this is much more subtle. I think it should be the other way around. Uh, so consider how you would use color more effectively to bring that out. And I definitely feel like you should explore several options with this background. Like it could be a parchment paper, could be, think of like old Western maps and things like that to give it a little more texture. And your color palette's really limited, so more color. This is color theory. Uh, Dalen, you did YOLO cookies. Uh, this is, a pretty clean design, but it's so simplified. It doesn't really have much branding. There isn't much in the way of branding at all here. Your color palette's really limited, just white background. I would put a lot more effort into this, give us some more options to look at, and think about your brand and brand elements. There aren't like secondary elements for your brand here. Next up, Juan, you did Black Sea Chocolate. You've got this vector art of a lips, uh, which looks very familiar, but your type is almost invisible. I'm not sure why it's in this shape. I would just make the type a lot bigger and bolder. Um, right now, this 70% dark cocoa is standing out more than your logo type. So your logo hasn't really been thought through. Also, your color palette's super limited. You don't really have any secondary elements, patterns, textures, anything to help with the branding. Since Black Sea chocolate is like Ukrainian, you would think there'd be some elements from the Ukraine. But this looks really pretty generic except for the lip artwork. As I said, it looks very familiar. But anyway, see what you can do to add a little more variety to the design. All right, guys, that's all I see for today. I'll be back on tomorrow at noon for a brief review of whatever's added. If you want to join me, go to the link and I'll see you then.